Life changes and you change with it. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't ready for that change. You lose your job, your relationship ends, you move to a new city, and suddenly the life plan you once protected so carefully is in the trash. That's when the same question starts echoing in your head. What do I do now? And maybe that's where things actually get interesting. Because according to the Stoics, the real problem isn't change itself. It's how we misunderstand change. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Life is change, and adapting to it is the nature of reason." But what do we do instead? We treat change like an enemy. We resist it, we fight it, and sometimes we even sabotage ourselves. Here's the irony. Life itself is change. Every single day you're becoming someone new. Your cells, your thoughts, your beliefs, even your dreams, they're all shifting. Yet you act like you're supposed to stay the same. For a Stoic man, that's a trap. Because resistance drains you, but acceptance makes you stronger. Epictetus puts it perfectly. While we try to control what isn't in our hands, we lose control over what is. Today I'm going to show you how to adapt to change. But this isn't going to be one of those cliché, think positive, everything will be fine talks. This is a guide built on wisdom from over 2,000 years ago. We'll look at real lessons from Marcus, Seneca, and Epictetus, how they face change head-on, and how sometimes they learn to flow with it instead of fighting. So how do we start seeing change not as an enemy, but as a teacher? That's where the Stoic perspective comes in. And the first step begins with accepting one unavoidable truth. If you're ready, let's begin. Because life isn't waiting for you. Marcus Aurelius, when he became emperor of Rome, didn't just inherit the throne. He inherited thousands of crises and uncertainties. Plagues were spreading across the empire, wars were breaking out along the borders, palace intrigues and rebellions seemed endless. Every morning he woke up to a brand new chaos. During his reign, the Antonine Plague erupted, a pandemic that wiped out nearly 1/3 of Rome's population. Cities were abandoned, the economy collapsed, and the army weakened. Everyone was in panic. His advisors expected him to deliver powerful speeches and miraculous solutions to calm the people. But in his private writings, Marcus simply noted, "The universe changes. Life itself is nothing but change. Prepare yourself for this reality." But Marcus Aurelius didn't just write about it, he acted like a true Stoic leader. First, he created relief funds to support the cities and restore public trust. He reorganized the army, reduced taxes, and sent physicians to fight the disease. By gathering the Roman Senate, he managed to keep the people united without letting panic take over. He didn't deny the change, and he didn't fight against the impossible. He fought only where he had control. This is the Stoic perspective. Marcus couldn't stop the plague, but he could control his response. He chose reason over panic, action over surrender. Because to the Stoics, it's not events themselves that define our lives. It's the meaning we give them and the way we respond. We modern men often fall into the same trap. We make career plans, build relationships, and carefully design our future in every little detail. Then life throws an unexpected card on the table. Just when everything seems fine, a phone rings, a crisis hits, or a single decision turns everything upside down. And in that moment, the same question echoes in our minds. Why is this happening to me? But the Stoics say you're asking the wrong question. Don't ask, why me? Ask, what can I do now? Because change isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. Resisting it is like trying to punch the waves in a raging sea. In the end, you'll only exhaust yourself. Epictetus puts it clearly. Don't waste your time trying to change the events of your life. Spend your time understanding them. You can't silence the storm outside, but you can build a calm harbor within yourself. Marcus Aurelius' story teaches us this. Accepting change doesn't mean doing nothing. True strength lies in making peace with what you can't control and focusing your energy on what you can. So how do you stop fighting the changes in your life and finally focus on what's truly within your control? The answer lies in part 2. Epictetus was born a slave. He had chains around his body, but his spirit was free. Life forced a harsh change on him the moment he was born, a life without freedom. For us, it sounds impossible, but for him it was just the beginning. His master, Epictetus, was one of the powerful men of Rome, yet cruel and quick-tempered. One day, as the story goes, Epictetus started twisting Epictetus' leg just for his own amusement. Epictetus calmly said, "You're going to break it." His master ignored him and kept twisting. Finally, the bone snapped. Epictetus, with a faint smile on his face, simply said, "See? I told you you'd break it." Imagine that for a second. Your leg is breaking, but you don't get angry. You don't curse, you don't scream or fight back. That's the essence of Stoic strength. Not controlling the event itself, but controlling your response to it. Years later, Epictetus shared this story with his students and said, "What mattered to me was not my leg. What mattered was that no one could break my will." This story perfectly sums up how the Stoics deal with change. Epictetus couldn't change the cruel hand life dealt him, from slavery to pain, but he changed his thoughts. He built a freedom stronger than any chain, the freedom of his own mind. Now let's bring this back to you. Think about the changes in your own life. You lost your job, your relationship ended, you lost someone close, your health failed you. Most of these things are outside your control. But there's one thing that is within your control, your response. Epictetus says, "Some things are in our control and some are not." Suffering comes from trying to control what isn't. Divide the changes in your life into 2 categories. Within your control, your reactions, habits, thoughts, and values. Beyond your control, other people's decisions, the passing of time, death, and loss. A Stoic man spends his energy only on the first. Fighting the second is like battling a sandstorm. You can't win. The harder you fight, the more exhausted you become. But does this make you passive? Not at all. Being Stoic isn't about saying, "Well, what can I do?" It's my fate and giving up. It's the opposite. It's about taking full responsibility for your life. Epictetus had a master who broke his leg. He wore the chains of slavery, but still he was the master of his own mind. He didn't surrender to anger. He didn't trap himself in pain. He didn't turn bitter. Instead, he turned his chains into a school, teaching his students where true freedom begins. If you're going through a similar test today, ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? That's the question a Stoic man lives by. And now, we've accepted change. We've learned to separate what's in our control from what isn't. But what about our expectations? Understanding that life owes us nothing. That's what we'll explore in part 3. When Seneca was sent into exile, he thought his life was over. He had been one of the brightest minds in Rome, shining like a star in Emperor Caligula's court. But then, politics came into play. Jealousy, whispers, accusations. And one morning he found himself on the road to exile, headed to the island of Corsica. Imagine it. You've climbed the ladder of success, become an advisor to the emperor himself, and suddenly everything is ripped away. The crowded streets of Rome, the grandeur of the palaces, the vibrant intellectual circles, all gone. Now you're stranded on a small, distant island cut off from society. So what do you think Seneca's first reaction was? Anger, despair, depression, number. He wrapped himself in the armor of Stoic thought. In his writings, he notes, "Obstacles exist so that we may find a better path." That mindset saved him from collapse. Exile didn't break Seneca, it transformed him. What was meant to be punishment became his laboratory. He used solitude to dive deep into his own mind. It was here that he refined his philosophy and wrote many of the letters that would become timeless. Even the foundation of his famous work, On the Shortness of Life, was laid during this period. Seneca's story reveals the essence of the Stoic approach. When life pushes you down a road you never wanted, your only real choice isn't to complain. It's to ask what you can learn on this new path. To the Stoics, nothing that happens is completely bad. If you can give it meaning, every hardship becomes an opportunity for transformation. Now bring this back to modern life. Your relationship ended. Maybe it's a call to rediscover who you really are. You lost your job. Maybe it's the doorway to a path with deeper purpose. Struggling with health problems? Maybe your body is finally asking you to take care of it. For a Stoic man, the question is always clear, not why me, but what can I learn from this? That's where real transformation begins. You can't always change what happens, but you can choose the meaning you give it. Seneca's exile became a gain, not a loss, because that's how he chose to see it. And that choice is right in front of you too. We've talked about turning struggles into opportunities, but I know theory is easy, practice is hard. Because when you're right in the middle of the storm, your mind either clings to regrets of the past or spirals into fears about the future. The Stoics found a solution to this too, returning to the present moment. Heracles' Circles of Concern and Marcus Aurelius' private writings can guide us here. So now let's explore perhaps the most powerful Stoic teaching of all, the strength of the present moment. Do you remember Heracles' Stoic teaching of the concentric circles? Expand your thoughts, but keep your attention in the present moment. The Stoics knew that life is full of change, but the weight of change often comes from a habit of the mind, living in the shadows of the past or getting trapped in the uncertainty of the future. Let's look at a story. Albert Einstein is known as one of the greatest geniuses of the 20th century. But the path that led him to winning the Nobel Prize wasn't a straight line. As a student, he was considered a slow learner. Throughout his academic life, he faced constant criticism. Some of his teachers even thought he wasn't good enough. People questioned his potential. But Einstein never let criticism or failure control his mind. Instead of drowning in past mistakes or getting lost in fears about the future, he focused on the present problem he was working on. Every day he built his own ritual, developing his theories, refining his calculations, and putting his thoughts on paper. To him, every moment was a chance to learn. Einstein once said, "Mental focus means putting all your attention on what you're doing right now. You can't change the past, and you can't control the future. All you can do is use this moment." This mindset played a critical role in developing his theory of relativity. Think about it. A theory that reshaped human history emerged because a young boy refused to live under the shadow of his past or fear of the future, and instead chose to live fully in the present. Now bring this into your own life. If your mind is tangled up in past mistakes or future uncertainties, think like Einstein. Is there something I can do right now? The step you take today could be the key to your growth and progress. When you focus on the present moment, you act not out of fear or anxiety, but with awareness and intention. You don't minimize challenges or try to control what's uncontrollable. Instead, you use your mind and energy to make the right move. And here's the beauty of it. Once you realize the power of the present, change no longer scares you. You're not stuck in the shadow of the past, nor are you lost in the fog of the future. You take ownership of the moment you have and you make the most of it. We've talked about the strength of focusing on the present. But for the Stoics, truly living in the now had another secret: remembering death. Yes, it may sound heavy, but they didn't run from the thought of death. They used it as a compass to understand the true meaning of life. Marcus Aurelius had a simple reminder he gave himself every morning, and it became one of the most powerful Stoic practices. Now let's explore one of the most radical, yet most liberating Stoic teachings. Remember death, embrace life. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, commander of the armies, leader of the Senate, a man whose decisions shaped the fate of millions. At the height of power, standing on top of the world, he would whisper the same reminder to himself every single morning. Today you could die. At first it sounds dark, even unsettling. But to Marcus, this wasn't about fear. It was about freedom. Accepting the inevitability of death wasn't a curse. It was a compass. Because once you realize that your time is limited, you stop postponing life. Every moment becomes precious. Every choice, urgent. Marcus leaned on this philosophy most during one of Rome's darkest chapters, the Antonine Plague. The epidemic wiped out nearly a third of the empire's population. Thousands died every day. Entire cities went silent. And yet Marcus didn't try to comfort his people with false promises or miraculous cures. Instead, he reminded them of a simple Stoic truth: death is natural. In his journal, he wrote, "Death is part of nature. Just as you were born, one day you will die. Do not fear it, only use the time you've been given." This is where the Stoic mindset shifts everything. Nothing lasts forever. Your victories, temporary. Your losses, temporary. Even your pain, temporary. When you truly grasp this, you stop resisting life's flow. You stop clinging so tightly to what's slipping away. You learn to live with change, not against it, because you understand that nothing, not even you, is here forever. Seneca captured this perfectly in one of his letters. Time is our most precious possession, yet we act as if it were endless. Think about it. How many things have you delayed with the excuse, "I'll do it later"? Later isn't guaranteed. To the Stoics, remembering death isn't about diminishing life. It's about amplifying it. Lost your job? Good. That's life opening another door. Relationship ended? Fine. That's the start of a different path. Lost someone you love? It hurts. Deeply. But the Stoics remind us, everything you love is mortal. So love it fully while you still have it. Memento mori, remember you will die, isn't about despair. It's about urgency. It's about presence. It's about living today as if it actually matters. Because here's the Stoic truth. The person who remembers death lives more vividly. They love harder. They waste less time. They fear change less. And maybe that's the essence of being a Stoic, to embrace change, to accept death, and to finally fully feel what it means to be alive. I know, change can feel terrifying. But here's the truth. Fear is often a choice. Instead of wasting your energy on what you can't control, focus on what you can. Your thoughts, your actions, your decisions. That's where real power lives. Every crisis, every loss, every unexpected twist carries a hidden opportunity. It's not the event itself, it's how you choose to see it. Don't let past mistakes chain you down. Don't let future uncertainty drain you. What matters is now, the small, conscious steps you take today. Each one makes you stronger, steadier, more resilient. Stop treating change like an enemy. See it for what it really is: a teacher, a guide, a mirror reflecting your own strength. Because you always have a choice: your reaction, your focus, your meaning. And when you choose presence over panic, acceptance over resistance, you discover something profound. True power starts within. Remember this: embracing change is embracing life. The future is uncertain, the past is gone, but this moment, it's yours. Feel it, live it, learn from it, grow with it. Because peace isn't out there somewhere, or none, it's already inside you. Thank you for watching.